Newswifty here. Hey guys, I'm Rachel. I'm a psychotherapist, and my whole life has been dedicated to healing. And could tell you a lot more about that, but let's get to the point of this video. I want to speak to something I'm finding particularly inspiring about Taylor Swift, and I think part of the movement that compels so many of us. I mean, I could speak to how much of a boss she is about navigating the patriarchy and changing the musical industry, her sheer beauty and relentless work drive. I mean, there's truly so many things that are inspiring about her, and I do see her as one of the most powerful women on the planet, if not powerful beings. Obviously, she has like collected the consciousness, the awareness, the attention of all of us. But the thing that I want to speak to, because it's actually my mastery, my experthood, my craft, is I'm going to project, and I have been using Taylor Swift videos to antidote a lot of the intensity of the world right now. So I've been deep in the rabbit hole, but of course I'm new to this, so I'm not claiming to know everything. But even just in her documentaries and her videos, she speaks a lot about her inner journey. And so that's what I want to reflect on with her loving audience, and also just so that you might understand what your own healing journey looks like. So what Taylor makes really clear is that she was, as a young person, she was completely oriented around being good and being liked. So her source of validation was external to her. And a lot of people relate to that. You might be a people pleaser, a martyr, someone who's always trying to get success or accolades to feel good about yourself. And it's an incredibly vulnerable position to be in because, of course, and as Taylor later found out, even when you get, huge heaping amounts of praise and admiration, something happens and you get torn down. So if we don't have an internal center from which to derive our stability and our worth, we are incredibly vulnerable to the bullshit of the world, right? So Taylor started off just like only wanting that praise, living for the claps, right? And, in the moment that everyone knows about with Kanye, and repeatedly after, when she became such a target of like scrutiny on the internet, obviously one of the challenges to intense fame. But she was like kind of like, this is so the like media's darling as far as scapegoating. I mean, it was truly amazing to me. That's one of the things I'm so inspired by, that she was torn down in a way that she was uniquely vulnerable to as a performer who was so oriented around being the good girl, doing it right, being liked. And then, the way she kind of like pulled herself away and made a little cocoon for her own healing. And, I don't know much about it, but what she speaks to is that, like, it was obviously like a grueling period to be hated, to be shit talked like that, when that's your drug of choice. Validation and external acceptance and praise is your drug of choice. It's really going to be a dark night of the soul. And I can tell that she went through that. I think we all can. And then to come out with such power and force in the Reputation era, and just in her like relentless moving forward and success since, is what I think some part of us is touched by with her. It's like she's someone who was, now granted, she has a lot of privilege. She's a beautiful, attractive, well-off white woman who became famous as a young age. I'm not saying she's had the hardest time. Lots of people have had lots harder times. And, for the way she's wired, she went through her own personal nightmare of an experience and was able to somehow, and I don't know the details of how, I know the details of how I think that kind of thing works, but able to digest the pain in a way where she was able to clear it enough to keep moving forward. And I think, one of the most gorgeous things about her journey is that she seems to have become ever more empowered, more connected to her voice and the mission and the purpose that she wants to use her power for, more politicized, more willing to piss people off, to say things that, will lose that external validation in the service of her own inner truth. She found her true north in her own inner compass, and it seems to be that she's navigating these big decisions of like, oh yeah, that's how movies come out. No, that's not how we're going to do it, And obviously she has a ton of power and money at her back to help her do that. But just for all of us, whatever we're going through, whatever privilege or not privilege or challenges we face, just to get that, in order to really find what our unique way in the world is, and our unique gifts that we want to offer, we need to really face what are the things that we're going for that aren't actually our values, our truth, our authenticity. We need to face the likelihood that people aren't all going to like us, and they're actively not going to like us, and be willing to, cocoon ourselves when necessary to digest the pain that our unique lives have offered us. And she's a beautiful, an example of a phoenix who's, she was always like, in some way pretty high, but she really like rose up again and continues to just make, world-changing choices that are clearly, finally, really originating from what seems to be an internal sense of worth and power. And I want that for all of us. And it makes me feel better for being in the deep, swifty, algorithmic hole with all of y'all. You're all lovely. You're all welcoming. I love how much people nerd out and search for the info. And now, I can't believe it. It's been almost, 6.5 minutes. But I send you love. If you want to know more about how to actually digest your pain, or how to find kind of like what your true north is in your compass, check out my profile. And if you want to just keep loving up on the Swifty vibes together, I'm here for it.